Everybody scram, the meteor is coming. We've got to head out of here, head out of season 3. And today, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly what we're going to be doing. If you guys saw the previous episode or towards the end of it, you will see a little booklet that was left for us, just showcasing that the meteor that we saw over in the spawn area is coming for AfterLife season 3. So we've got to go ahead and head on out of here as soon as we can, which means, like I said, today's episode is the very last episode. You could almost call it the finale of AfterLife SMP season 3. There will be one more video after this one, which you guys will see in a little bit, but I figured ending off on episode number 50 would mean a whole lot. 50 episodes in 2 years isn't a whole lot, but hey, it worked out pretty well. So yeah, today's episode, folks, is going to be a little bit different. We're going to tour all the different builds that I've done around here versus the stuff I've done here at the base, as well as stuff over in spawn and various other little places. But before we get into that, there's one thing I cannot forget about. I spent a little bit of time and I thought I got replay mod footage of it, but apparently that was corrupted. I spent some time and did Hugh Bones' little lighting area of Snake City. Hopefully I'll show you guys a little bit of the finished product, but we basically just did the grassy green areas and did a little bit of hidden lighting right there. But Hugh Bone here at our base has left us a little present here. We do that to my sweet Prince WhiteFyr. He left us bring back White Cam Wednesdays. Oh my goodness. He left us 20 diamond blocks, which is pretty dang cool. So thank you for that, Hugh. Thank you for letting me light up your area, and I'll have to take this down at some point. Anyways, like I said before, today's episode is going to be a little bit of a more laid back Tory episode. We're going to check out all the builds I've done around AfterLife season 3. And we're going to start right here in the middle of, I guess, where most of the stuff has happened, right here at my base area. For those who don't know, I started this season mainly over in the spawn area, but once it got later, a little bit later on, I decided to start my base area, and my base is over here in the Badlands biome. That's pretty far away. We're over 7,000 blocks away from sort of the spawn area, and I did this because I wanted to do a Western themed town this season. Now, I'll explain a little bit later, but I kind of regret doing this, and I'll explain a little bit later why. But let's go ahead and go through and showcase all the things we've done in this Western town area. We have the 3 original houses right here. This ended up being like a little hotel area that never got really dealt with, and this became my storage area. So we step in here. This is the storage area that I used throughout pretty much most of the season, honestly. At least most of the last half of the season. And over here is the hotel. This is probably my favorite build around here. Not my favorite build, but my favorite house, I guess, around here, just because I decorated the inside. I think the inside looks pretty dang cool. You have the sort of water and ice room here. You have the fire room here. So I quite like how these ones turned out, but I do kind of wish we'd gotten around to doing some other interiors as we went along. We have the wanted board right here, which is a newer edition where I started to add a few criminals here and some of the rewards for them. Over here, we also have, as you can see, a few houses around here. Some of them you may recognize, some of them you may not. Most of them are actually stuff that happened from a prank. I was actually pranked by a few people, and they built houses for me to sort of fill up the Western town, because there really wasn't much going on around here. So you can see a few of these guys here. You can see the pathway design that I made right here. Those mainly just path blocks and coarse dirt. And a lot of these houses really just, I didn't do much of the interior. I lit them up, but that was about it. Never really got around to doing the interiors of these, but big thank you to the ones who pranked me for this and put some of these house designs around here, because they do fit very, very well, and I'm pretty happy with them, which is why I kept them. Even though it was a prank, I kept it because I quite liked it. This one was a bit interesting. This is a copy basically of my water tower with another build, that build on top of it, basically almost like a little windmill, which is pretty cool. If you come down here, I added some barrels and stuff around here to help a little bit with the area. I also spent a lot of time around here terraforming it, if you will, or texturing the ground, adding some of this orange sand and stuff around here, which I thought was pretty cool. We kept this little church right here. This is the Church of Steve, I believe. Yeah, here's Bible. This was signing Stan's redemption from stream, but you can see some of the cow heads around here, and the Church of Steve, if you will. In here was basically where the jail is. We walk in here, you can see I put some beds in some of these jails. This one doesn't have a door apparently. Okay. If we go upstairs as well, you'll see some more in here as well. So I have never really done this sort of jail design before, but I thought it'd be a pretty cool little thing that we could do in here, which I guess is sort of a police station and or a sheriff's office and a jail in one, because I feel like in the Western theme you would sort of had that back then, but You'll see some of these bigger buildings I never really did much with, but they are pretty cool. So definitely definitely little cool builds that I kind of wish I'd gotten around to doing some interiors for, but let bygones be bygones, I suppose. You'll see a whole bunch of beacons dotted around here as well. That's what I use for mining and whatnot, so don't mind those. There really isn't anything over there. Down here, that was where I put my nether portal, which I think looks pretty cool. It's got a cactus up there, skunk's free cactus. There you go. Over here, we also have the super smelter, or basically the automatic smelter that I used for much of the season. We'll see some shulker boxes around here for glass and stuff that I quite regularly used in order to stock my glass shop over in spawn. But you'll see the loader system right here, and honestly, I think it worked out pretty well. I'm quite happy with myself for having built this earlier on in the season, because like I said, I had a glass shop, and that helps quite a bit with that. Now we get into some of the meat of this area, specifically with the sandwich. Of course, gotta have a sandwich. Every Western town has to have a sandwich. You'll see some of these around here. There was actually Emma's house that she built during one of the subathons I did over on Twitch. She built one over there. Emma is my girlfriend, for those who do not know. Over here we have a water tower that I think that the prank was from the prank. This is the original water tower right here. Small design. I wanted a water tower that kind of fit with the area but didn't really stand out, I guess, too much. So if we actually go up here, you will see, if you look in here, so it's filled with water as well. And there's even a ladder in here as well, which is pretty dang cool. So I'm quite happy with how this one turned out, because I hadn't really had any experience with water towers before. So kind of the first one I've done before. Read a little sort of to-do list board over here, which I never got around to some of that stuff. And I just kept the collection of heads over on this side, because why not? But if we head down here, actually, we should probably head over here first. This in here is the mine shaft. I spent quite a bit of time on the server working on this mine shaft here. If we can get out of here without dying, that'd be great. Yeah, I spent quite a bit of time in here working on this mine shaft. You can see some of the dirt coming down from the ceilings, the lanterns all over the place to try to help with mobs. You'll also see the cows dangling from here as well. I think Kafers and a skunk did this because they were messing with me one day. So we head down here. You'll see all the sides here. It was a pretty simple design, basically. The whole idea of this is that you'll be able to mine around here, doing some speed mining and whatnot, and then I could fly all the way up to the very top there to get out of here. That was basically the plan behind it. And there's some waterfalls here if I want to just climb my way up if I really need to. But I think this area turned out pretty well. I did this earlier on as well, so I kind of forget some of the stuff in it, but I think it turned out pretty well. Over here we have a bridge that I built fairly early on. The whole idea of this was to make it sort of broken down. I think that worked out pretty well here. And of course, couldn't have a Western town, at least for me, without a huge wheat field here. So we got my wheat field, got my cows, everything that I need for that. We also have, I think, some sheep over here. Yeah, I built this little bridge over to this area as well, which I think is a unique bridge. It's not the best bridge, but it's fairly unique. It's a diagonal bridge as well, which I quite like. But one of the things I'm the most proud of that I built later on in the season is this over here. If you look at this, you'll be able to see this is what I try to do for a farmhouse. Not quite Western themed, but I wanted to try a bit of a porch here with some windows on the top, and I never really did an interior for it, but I'm honestly quite happy with how this farmhouse turned out. It's one of my more favorite builds as of recent that I've done. A lot of leaves on it, but I think it turned out pretty well regardless. And then over here, you'll see some horse stables as well. Nothing too fancy, just a place to put some horses and whatnot. Is this? Yeah, that's Oak Dude's horse, White Oak, very nice. And in the back here, you'll also see, I put a little bit of a pond. I don't know if it makes any sense, but basically there's an entrance right here where the horses can come in through here. And yeah, they can, I guess, drink from the pool if they wanted to. There's not really any fish in there, but got some hay bales in here. They can sort of run around. That was sort of the whole idea of this, is that it's almost like a little playpen for the horses. So I think it turned out pretty well. And through the nether portal, we go into the Nether Tunnel. So this is all my design as well. This is actually hooked up to one of the 4 main nether portals, or the 4 main entrances to the nether hub, specifically because it goes over to the Badlands biome, which people of course wanted to use for the terracotta and whatnot. But this is the design I came up with. I had boats in mind, and I tried to keep elytras in mind as well, so there is some space above here for you to fly through with your elytra. But essentially it is Badlands themed. So it's got the orange terracotta, it's got the red terracotta, it's sort of like it's darker the further down you go, and it has some of these dead bushes and whatnot here. I try to make it so that piglins and zombified piglins and things like that wouldn't spawn on these things, but you do get a few occasionally in the corners here, specifically because there are some areas on the sides that are spawnable and don't have, or specifically I think where the dead bushes are is actually spawnable, which kind of sucks, but they're all also sort of fenced off by those wooden trap doors, so it's not a huge deal either way. Now we made it to the Nether hub as well, which obviously was not built by me, so we won't be going over this, but this is where it hooks up to the Mesa Badlands, whatever you want to call it, over here. Oh, Spawn Town, how I miss this place. Pretty cool place over here. We got a few builds. You can sort of see the meteor right there, so we kind of should probably hurry this up because I think this meteor is about to blow up the world, so we might want to hurry this up. But let's start over here. We can start with my spawn house here. For those of you who have not seen this, I built this pretty early on in the season, but I went with sort of a stone frame with a lot of oak and brick attached to it. I think the outside looks pretty good. It was a more unique build at the time that I built it almost 2 years ago, so I'm quite happy with it. You'll have some of the interior here, the kitchen. We've got Bob, our golem roommate, if you will. Got a little bit of storage up here. I tried to almost do like split storage, so there's some storage here, but there's also some storage up here as well in the sort of the second floor where I have some furnaces. I have a little bit of extra storage over here. I've got my bed over here as well, so yeah, not bad. Not bad at all. And then down here I actually ended up adding more storage anyways, so didn't make a huge difference, but I figured I would have some storage down here because I ended up being in spawn a lot longer than I thought I would, but yeah, and it had to end up adding some extra storage to it. And since we're still in the residential district as well, let me check out Team Turtle. So those of you guys who saw the Team Turtle tour will have already seen this. I helped build some of this stuff, specifically this and some of the farming pods as well. These were not my design. I think there's one, these little things right here were my design, but that was Skunk's design and this was Skunk's design as well. So I didn't design those, but I did really help try to build them. And it was honestly a lot of fun hanging out with Team Turtle almost, over a year and a half ago, as of the time of this recording, whatever it might be. But actually we missed a build over here before I move on. We missed the community chest build, which actually was built by me, as well as the community mine down here. I built both of those earlier on in the season. The community chest is basically for community storage. If anyone had any random blocks they wanted to put in here for new members or just for anyone to grab, I built this so that every season of AfterLife has pretty much had it. And this was here essentially so that, well, people could put extra stuff in here that didn't necessarily want. And then there's some storage up here. There was a basement as well, but due to lag reasons, I got rid of it, trying to help with some of the lag in this area, but I don't know how much it really helped. Over here we have the community mine that was built, like I said, a long time ago. Got a furnace set up here. People actually wanted to use it. Nobody really used it, but it is there. You see the water drop right here as well. That goes down into the community mine area, which, as you can see, got used quite a bit, which I'm very, very happy about. This isn't obviously the best community mine design, but I think it did wonders for the beginning, especially new members as well who were just joining. I do know quite a few who ended up using this area, so I think it's a really, really cool build that we ended up doing there. But the big thing here in spawn, outside of that, we'll go to my shops in a minute, but the big thing I built over here in spawn was this. Pretty much a handcrafted mountain. I basically took two mountains from around here and joined them together, made a new peak. And people quite liked it from what I remember when I was first building it. Some of the trees, these are just random spruce trees I added here, aren't all that great, but I think the mountain itself turned out pretty well. The shape of it is more like a volcano, which isn't the best, but this view specifically, I think is probably the best view of the entire mountain. So I'm happy with how that turned out. Try to use some of the natural landscape, of course, to build a new mountain. And of course, we can't forget this over here. This is where my first death was, actually. I believe KB built this giant F here. To remember my first death, I died to a creeper while chopping down trees, building the old Enderman farm that Cody and I built together towards the very beginning of the season. So thank you to, I believe it was KB who built that and whatnot. I also built this little tunnel design right here as well, so I added some different texturing. Wasn't really much of a tunnel here, so I thought I would decorate it. A lot of this stuff is Hugh's stuff, I think, in here. So well done to Hugh for using some of this interior in here. I think I built this, I think I extended this pathway maybe. I forget, I think I did. Pathway wasn't my design though, but I didn't do anything over in here. This is the industrial district. Didn't do anything over here, so we'll skip on over to, I guess, the shopping district now. So I had 5 shops in total. We'll go to the newest shop. This sort of looks like a frog, as it was pointed out to me. I forget who pointed it out to me, but it kind of looks like a frog. It's a lighting shop. There's meant to be 2 torches right there. If you go in here, you can order lighting services from me. I ended up selling some lighting stuff here as well. So lanterns and sea pickles, torches, and things like that I ended up selling in here as well because there was a demand for it and people wanted me to sell it. So why not? The 2 other shops I have on this side of the shopping district are the Terracotta shop or the Mesa shop. which has terracotta amongst some other things. One of my most popular shops, honestly, between this and the glass shop, I believe were my two most popular shops, because obviously there's a lot of builders on this server and they need their building blocks. So I don't even know if I still have some of this here. I don't know if I still have, I didn't have any payments in here, but either way, I think I cleared all those up a little bit earlier. I had to restock this quite a bit, and being over in the Mesa area helped a lot to actually be able to restock this. So yeah, pretty good shop overall. And we also had over here the steak and cake shop, built to look like a steak and shake. If you guys have ever heard of Steak and Shake the chain or whatnot, it was built to sort of look like that, except it's steak and cake. So if we head in here, you'll see I sold steak, I sold cake, I sold golden carrots, and pumpkin pie. Technically, I don't think I actually ever really sold pumpkin pie, but the steak was pretty popular, the cake not at all, the golden carrots were pretty popular. But I'm quite happy with how the interior of this turned out. I think the checkerboard pattern, of course, makes a lot of sense. I like the sort of interior decorations. Very simple build, but it did the job pretty well. And now we can head over to the other side of the shopping district, where I have two shops over here. We'll start off with the one-stop glass shop. Basically, the idea, this is your one-stop for all things glass. I should have added glass bottles to this, actually, thinking about it now. But in here, this is one of my more favorite shops, because it was one of the more popular shops as well. You can see I sold a lot of regular glass, and I sold all the stained glass variants as well. These came and went pretty quickly a lot of times, and I'm pretty happy with how the interior of this worked out. I try to add in all of the different glass types into the windows here, just as a little bit of extra detail to this build, because the build itself isn't entirely unique, but I thought that the windows could add a little bit more uniqueness to them. And if we head over here, you will see the cow head shop. So here's where I sold the cow heads, which were dropped by cows. This is one of the data packs we have on the server, or the cow head, I guess is what it's called. I did a little bit of redstone for this as well, which I never do, but I wanted to make this look like a tongue right here coming out of the cow's head. And I also want to make sure that no mobs could actually get into here, so I did this with it. Worked out pretty well. But I sold milk as well, I sold leather, and I sold cow heads here in stacks of 3. So the cow heads didn't really go. The leather was the most, I believe, the most sold item in here, which makes sense. People need leather for a lot of different things. But still, it was pretty cool that this shop did actually get some use out of it. And I believe the last thing I have over here, or the last few things I have, are over here in the games district, where all the mini games were in the spawn area. So the first thing, I believe I built the first thing in the games district, or the second thing, because I think the arena was first. Whatever it was, I built the entrance here. I think I got a little bit of help from Skunk in designing this, but yeah, I ended up building this little entrance here, and it turned out pretty well. It's not the best entrance in the world, but I'll certainly take it. My first attempt, so I'll take it. In here, you also have, I believe I only have one game in here, the Bouncy Castle game over here. I tried to do a Bouncy Castle game. I don't think people really liked it, but it was still here, and I like the design of it, honestly. It looks like a little miniature castle, right? Not bad at all. I believe I am the only one who has a player time in here. The idea was you want to see how fast you could get from here and bounce all the way up using these ladders without actually like jumping from like platform to platform. The fastest way you just use these ladders and use the slime blocks to jump on top of platforms. Get up there, grab a piece of paper, and end your timer, basically. So, like I said, I don't think anyone actually played it all that much, but I quite like the design of it. So I think it was pretty cool, nonetheless. And last but not least, we can sort of go around here and show off the 3 bridges. I believe I built 3 bridges around here, or maybe 4 bridges. So I built this little covered bridge. GP did a lot of the terraforming and stuff with the trees and the terraforming and whatnot around here, and he had me build some of the bridges. So you have one covered bridge right here. I'm not the biggest fan of this, but I try to use some chains and a few other things to make it a little more unique, and it was part of the games district path over here, so I want to add in the games district colors here as well. We go over to this side. I think these are over here somewhere, over here are the 2 bridges that people I think enjoyed the most, which was this bridge. Both of these went across this water stream right here. So a bridge right here, and then a bridge across right there. This was more diagonal. This one was a straight bridge. I don't know how much use these actually got, if a skeleton doesn't kill me, but I think it turned out pretty well, and it seemed like people enjoyed them as well. And last but not least, I believe the other bridge I made was right here. This was a more straight bridge, but I think it turned out pretty well. And I tried to keep it in sort of the theme of the bridges that were already around here, with the big bases and the different cobblestone and stone brick and things like that, and the more natural look of it as well. So yeah, I think it was a pretty good job nonetheless, and I'm glad I was able to make that bridge, honestly. But I do believe, I think I think that was the last thing I did. I might have forgotten a few things. It's been 2 years. It's been a long time on the server, and I'm really happy that not only are we getting out of here because a meteor is coming, but we're going to be starting season 4 in the not too distant future. By the time this video comes out, it may even be a week, maybe 2 weeks until the first episode of season 4 will be out. So stay tuned for that, y'all. It should be a fantastic time. But ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap it up for episode 50 of AfterLife SMP season 3. If you did enjoy the video, feel free to leave a like. If you're new around here, feel free to subscribe. Make sure to join me as we run away from this meteor and try to get out of here as soon as possible. So don't forget, folks, season 4 is starting very, very soon. I will let you all know. You can stay updated over on Twitter or on various other places in the community tab as well if you want to stay updated as to when season 4 is actually going to be starting and when the first videos of that are going to be released. So anyways, folks, take care, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.